Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to the Vertex Super Lab series. It's been 2 weeks since our last event here in the series at Road Atlanta. Oh no, it was Watkins Glen. I'm so sorry. It's been a long 2 weeks, and we are back finally for round 3. Which was supposed to be last week, but it got delayed due to attendance issues and some other stuff. But we are here at Tsukuba circuit in Japan for the next round of our time attack series. As usual, we have the 3 classes of the series here: the Clubman class with a 550 PP limit on sports mediums, Modified class with a 650 PP limit on sports softs, and unlimited with no PP limit and on racing hard tires. The event format will be unchanged as it was for the season so far. 20-minute sessions with only one class on track on each session, each class having 2 sessions totaling up to 6 sessions in total. The order would be Clubman, Modified, and Unlimited. We are here at Tsukuba Circuit, what many consider to be the mecca of time attack. It's where the whole event was born in Japan. It's a short circuit, just a little over 2 kilometers, 9 turns, with barely half a kilometer straight. So it's easy to think we're going to be seeing times dropping below the 1 minute mark. Maybe even from the Clubman class from the get-go, but definitely from Modified onwards. It's also a pretty tough track to get right as well. With the corners coming at you very quickly, especially through the first 2 with the first section. A little hairpin-like turn at turn 1, going straight to an S section in 2 and 3 with another hairpin coming at you in 4. The tight Dunlop corner in 5 and 6, and then the last hairpin at 7, and through 7 and 8, along the way to the back straight, the very short back straight as well. That comes at you quick before you have to brake, slow down for turn 9, get the car rotated, get a good exit speed, all the way back to the finish line. It starts all over again. So the drivers here with these 20-minute sessions, they're gonna get a lot of laps in each. Speaking of which, let's get onto the track. The Clubman class guys are now on track as we speak, but the session has not started yet. We're only about to start the session here. We're gonna get a good look at the cars first. Before we start the session, we have Flash 05 with a Porsche 911. If you remember, Flash dominated the last round at Watkins Glen, winning all 3 classes. And he did win the Clubman class in, I think it was a Porsche 930. Tim Lohr ever present with his Ford Sierra. The Trust Racing liveried Ford Sierra has been a staple of this series, having been present since the first round we have at Road Atlanta, but has yet to take a class win despite his strong championship position. Will this be the round that he gets it? Big Tex here showing up with a new car, a Radical SR1, I think it is. Pretty good choice considering how technical of a course Tsukuba is. Not really needing that much engine power, but more on the handling side, which this car definitely has. We're looking at here at Max McEddie in the pits in an Alpine. John with, again, his BMW M3. Fausto with, surprisingly, a Mazda 3 tuned for Clubman class. That Mazda 3 with the same livery, he does have another one for Unlimited, which has the 4-rotor engine. So it's interesting to see him bring out another similarly looking Mazda 3 for the Clubman class, and NFL with his Honda Integra. As we give the notice to the drivers that we're about to officially start with the first session of the event, first session of Clubman class. Just make sure everyone stays on the grid. We're fired up. It's gonna be interesting to see if these guys can go directly into the 1 minutes or even maybe 59s, I'm guessing, with these tires. It's definitely possible. But for 550 pp, I'm thinking the times are probably going to be around the 1 minute 2s, 1 minute 1s. It's going to take an exceptionally good car and driver combo to dip into the sub 1 minutes on these tires. As we watch the cars roll out the grid, this is going to be an issue as well. I feel like as the session goes on, like traffic, because the track is so short. It's only 2 kilometers, and the lap time just goes by so quick that it's very likely, like, well, it's almost guaranteed that you're gonna be running into traffic at some point in the session when everyone just starts opening the gaps up so that they don't get hampered by whatever's in front of them. That'll be interesting to see as well. So up until now, we've been racing in tracks that are pretty long and wide. So the track's pretty open, so you barely run into anyone. But now, with a short track like this, you probably definitely gonna have to keep your eyes in the mirror sometimes, or in the mini map, just to see if anyone's coming up behind you. Also, it is noteworthy about the tire temperatures. Worth noting, tire temps are a thing around here. Not so much about the sports tires, so Club and Modified probably don't have to worry about it as much, but definitely that would come into play once we get to the Unlimited class. As drivers will find they'll only have like 3 or 4 good laps on a set of tires before they have to cool them down somewhat. This is something that the Flash 05 made very good use of in Watkins Glen, as he went for attack laps and cooled down his tires to stay on that same set without having to pit for fresh tires to just reset the temperature cycle. It'd be interesting if the drivers here would realize the value of doing cooldown laps. Like, they don't have to do it every lap. They have to give themselves like maybe 3 or 4 laps on a set of tires and just take a lap to cool them down before they go back at it again. Because you just lose the grip. Once those tires go up in temperature, they just start losing grip, and it's pretty hard to get them back down just by running. Not by running 100%. You really have to do a cooldown lap for it. We got Flash already close to the sub 1 minutes with a 1:01.3. And Fausto not far behind with a 1:02.1, the Mazda 3. Got him doing his first flying lap at a 102.257. Very close between him and Fausta right now. John not far behind in the M3 with a 102.5. Max McEddie with a 102.579. Big Tex with a 102.983. NFL still probably trying to find pace. In the Integra sitting at a 104.2. There's going to be a theme as well, how close the field is going to get. It's going to be interesting to see where each car gains time over the others. Flash going faster now, going through the final turn. Not even hitting 200 kilometers an hour in the backstraight with the Porsche. Fausta also down to the 101s, to the 101.8. Taking a very wide line here, going through the final corner. That's an interesting one. Perhaps he's trying to set himself up for a really good lap time. Only taking that line when he feels like that lap, this isn't the lap that he wants to have. Because a line like that really will allow you to set yourself up with a faster exit going through the line. But overall, it's not something you would take for an optimal attack line. Max here getting close to the 1 minute ones. He's right there. He's sitting at a 102.001. Tim Lord down to the 101s with a 101.844. Still a ways away from Flash's 101.2. Everyone now exceeding expectations. I did say earlier but I was expecting times in a 102s, 103s, but now everyone's getting close to the 101s. There going a bit wide at the final corner, but that allowed him to get back on throttle early, set himself up for this next lap. Flash not looking to improve, but still going steady out on track right now. Tim, I think, let NFL by. He's going for a cooldown lap. This is interesting. We're finally seeing someone do cooldown laps on these tires. Hopefully this gives him enough leeway on those tires to go for another set of attack laps. Be keeping an eye on those laps as they go. We have to top two right close to each other out on track right now. Fausto taking the normal line through the final corner. Using all the grip that four-wheel drive car can provide him out of the corners. Just attacks the throttle once the car is facing the right direction. All that grip carrying him out of there. He's currently he's currently up on his own personal best. Let's see about Tim Lord here. Not quite there yet. I think those tires are not quite there yet. Maybe that cooldown lap was a bit too much, and he probably cooled them down too much, and now he's about to work them up temperature again. John running consistent laps, but still stuck with a 102.5. Tim could hunt the BMW M3 down in front of him to get some draft down the back straight if John continues to run at the pace he is. But John is on new tires as well, so we'll see if that can give him the lap time improvement he needs. We're just a little halfway past the first session of Clubman with only 8.5 minutes left. But that's still a lot of laps. It's around 7 or 8 laps left for everyone out here. So if someone's thinking of getting new tires, they have a lot of time to do so. John moving out the way for Tim here. Tim did deal 101.9 on his last lap, so those tires are definitely coming into play now. He just needs to get that lap down. Flash getting close to his lap time there with a 101.4 on that lap, and now he's going for a cooldown. Well, Fausto also running consistent lap times, all in the 101s his last 5 laps. Max coming down to the pits, get some new tires for that Alpine. Top at the end of the pits, probably making way for whoever is coming back behind him. It's Tim Lore. Yes, Tim, John, and I think Fausto making way here. Very nice of him to do so. Dex also making way for NFL. Everyone being very aware of traffic so far. Fausto actually improves, goes up to a 101.460, now closes the gap to the Porsche to just 0.176. The battle is on here, ladies and gentlemen. on, improves his time, but still in the 102s, 102.3. And still behind Max McKetty's Alpine A110. Getting loose there out of turn 1. I think that was a bit of a wide line as well. They're tries to recover by getting back on throttle early, but that car just said no. Pretty easy mistake to make around here for anyone, really. Going wide and into especially turn 1. Coming in there with a very fast exit out of the final corner, you just brake a bit too late and the car won't turn in. A little under 5 minutes left in this session. Can Flash extend the gap, or can Fausto close it a bit more? And that's what he does, but still not enough. He closes it down to just 17 thousandths of a second with a 101.301. Flash right now looking to extend that gap. He does. With a little bit of help from the Integra's slipstream, I feel like. He improves to a 101.1. We're looking at the past 2 winners of the Clubman class so far, battling it out for a win here at Tsukuba. Remember Fausto winning round 1 at Road Atlanta with the Ford Roadster, and then Flash winning last time out at Watkins Glen with the Porsche 911. As Fausto smokes up the front left there going through the final corner, he probably just gets on the throttle as early as he can, but the tires didn't have grip enough yet. Tim Lohr improving on his lap time ever so slightly here. Perhaps keep himself safe from the Alpine of Max. John just attacking the circuit, trying to get as much time as he could to close that gap, get into the 101s. Flash improves again with a 101.125, this time all in clean air. That Porsche has got some pace in it. How can Fausto answer back in the Mazda 3 as Tim, I think, goes a bit deep out of Dunlop, spins the car around, has to wait for everyone to go by. I think if he wants to do another attack lap, those tires would have been cooked right now, so I think the best option for him is to just run straight into the pits, get an out lap done, and have one more shot at this. Fausto closes the gap again with a 101.223. Everyone has 2 more laps left. I think Fausto went a bit too deep there. NFL improving on his personal best, now sitting at a 104.1. Flash not looking to improve on this lap. But he still has 1 more lap left. Meanwhile, Fausto going into his final lap right now. Takes that wide line to set himself up for the start of the next lap. Here we go. Could very well be that Fausto could be the first guy to take... Oh, and abandons his lap, it feels like. He went deep into one. That's unfortunate. Which probably locks Flash in for the lead of the Clubman class for this one. But it's a very close fight right now. And he's still improving. 63 thousandths purple at Sector 1. Ooh, goes a bit too deep there at the second hairpin. But that allowed him to go back on throttle early. Will that cost him? It looks like it did. He's now 5 thousandths down. Gets on throttle early. All that grip from that Porsche improves 20 thousandths of an improvement. That was a very close session indeed. As we look back on the final results from the first session of Clubman, we have Flash 05 leading in the Porsche 911, 996, 911 GT3 with a lap of 101 for 105. Not too far behind him, Fausto Ruiz with the Mazda 3 at a 101.223, just 0.118 seconds behind. The gap starts to open up a bit with Tim Lohr in the Sierra RS at a 101.8. These are the only 3 cars in the 101 range. But not too far behind the Sierra is Max McEddie in the Alpine A110 with a 102.001. Ever so close to going down to the 101s. And John T with the BMW M3 with a 102.3. And close again behind him is Big Tex in the Radical SR3 with a 102.4. NFL still looking to find some improve, probably some setup changes needed on that Integra Type R with a 104.112, but we do still have one more session of Clubman left, so there's definitely more time to be found for these guys. We now move to the first session of the modified class. GT7 being GT7 moments here. There we go. I think not everyone just loaded back up on track after the session ended. What does everyone have for modified? wonder. Tim Lore sticking to his guns again with the Trust livery Honda S2000, as he always has in this season. John T again with the Honda NSX. Max now looking, I see the pattern here. It looks like Max is going with the Alpine A110 as well for modified class. NFL back with the Corvette C8. Interesting to see what the Flash, Fausto, and Big Tex have here. I think Big Tex still doesn't have an energy for modified, so he'll be an audience here with us. It'll be interesting to see what the Flash 05 and Fausto Rees has in store for us here for modified. Fausto with the Lamborghini Huracan and what looks to be a Monster Energy livery, which looks pretty similar to the Lamborghini Murcielago drift car of Daigo Saito. All waiting on Flash 05's entry. Third hazard, I guess, is a Porsche 911 again. I may be wrong. I've been proven wrong before. As we assumed he was gonna roll with all Porsches, and that he does. It's a 997 this time for modified. He was rolling with the 996 earlier in Clubman class. And the Porsche Almanac rolls up with a Porsche as expected, which could mean, I'm assuming here, that we might see a 991 GT3 for the Unlimited class. With all the competitors for modified on track right now, let's fire this up. Now, the time difference between Clubman and modified, pretty big. So we're definitely gonna expect times to dip into the sub 1 minutes here. Whether that goes down to 58s, 57s remains to be seen. But definitely under 1 minute, lap times under 1 minute is expected from everyone here. Look at the gaggle of cars right now. A line of cars here. Fausto, Tim, John, and Max all lined up here in one sector. While Flash and NFL safely separated themselves away from the pack. That pack has to break away from each other somehow. As we see here the out laps being 55 seconds. So normally the out lap is 1 second faster than the time lapse, so we're probably going to see a 56 off the bat here from Fausto Ruiz. The degree of difficulty of this track just goes up and up as the cars go fast, which means it's gonna be a lot harder for everyone to nail a really good lap here in Modified, especially later in Unlimited, despite the higher grip that the regulation tires give them. Go Fausto setting the first lap. 57.114. And John with a 57.2, Tim with a 58 flat, Max with a 59.6. What's the Flash's time gonna be here? A 57.868. About NFL, 59.979 in the Corvette C8. Fausto laying down the gauntlet here in the Huracan, but not far behind is the other four-wheel drive in this class right now, the NSX. Finally dipping into the 56, Fausto Ruiz with a 56.715. What can Flash do to answer back? NFL improves, but still in the 59s. Ooh, goes wide. That's turn one. Goes into the gravel trap at turn one, but gets himself out just as quick. Tim getting loose there out of the final corner. That's a weird place to lose the rear. I think he might have gotten on the throttle early, going midway through the final corner, and just lost the rear. That's the only thing I can think of right now for you to get loose in that place. Flash now into the 57, in the mid 57s with a 57.4, closing the gap to the NSX, but still 7/10 off, almost 8/10 off of the Lamborghini. High temperatures could be a much bigger issue here with the softer tires. If they ever were back in the Clubman class. Flash using all of the track width here. Just keeping 2 tires on the tarmac and 2 on the grass out of turn 1. John getting closer now with the 57.1, ever closer to the 56-second range. Fausto going back to the pits, getting a new set of tires. Perhaps feeling the strain already on the tire temps here. We're going much faster with much bigger loads put on those tires, and with the softer compound, definitely going to be able to heat those tires up a lot quicker and overheat them just as quick. We're still seeing consistent laps from most of the field, so if there's ever going to be a change in the car's behavior due to tire temps, the drivers are going to feel it themselves. But it's reasonable to assume that definitely it's going to be a factor as we go deep into the session on the same set of tires. We're only 7 minutes into this session and we've already seen 3 cars change tires. Fausto's again. Smoke coming out of the left side tires, coming out of the coming midway through the final corner, which tells me just how early he gets back on the throttle. Tim improves to the 57-second range with a 57.983. I think is a new set of tires. His 4th lap. Close fight here for 5th, with Max McKinney with a 59.536 in the Alpine, and NFL with a 59.658 in the Corvette. Meanwhile, Fausto increases his gap to the rest of the field, improving again on those new set of tires, already paying dividends here with a 56.568. I think it's new tires and possibly some setup changes here mid-session. Not really recommended unless you really could tell what was wrong. Max now down to the 58-second range here in the Alpine as he goes wide onto the gravel trap at a 1, I think trying to make way for the cars behind him, Tim and John. Sorry, it was Flash and John that he was trying to make way for. Ooh, Max getting it wrong here. At 150R. We're now halfway through the first session of modified class, and you go straight back to the pits, probably make some setup changes, and obviously get some new set of tires. Ooh, Fausto goes deep onto the final corner. I think he tried braking a bit too late, but ended up carrying too much speed that the car didn't want to turn. Goes to the pits, gets a new set of tires straight back out. Flash now goes back to the pits. Maybe to make some setup changes along with the new set of tires. He has more than enough time to do that. We're 8.5 minutes. There's 8.5 minutes left in this session. Now Tim's still soldiering on that set of tires. Don looking, he's struggling with oversteer going into the final corner. That may be intentional as well. Trying to kick the rear out to get the car pointed in the right direction, using the four-wheel drive grip. Get onto the throttle early. Almost drifting it out of one there. But he's about to run in some traffic here with NFL, and I think it's Max in front of him. No, it's Flash in front of him as well. Barely lost any time there with the slide out of turn 4. Ooh. That car just gets loose. They're all looking to chase down Tim. Also looking like he's setting himself up here for an attack club. We'll follow along the Lamborghini for this lap as John closes the gap with a 57.1, an improvement here. Fausto already purple again through sector 1, going through Dunlop and 150R. Still purple going through the final corner. He only has that left. Waits and just gets back on throttle, attacks the throttle on exit. But he lost time there at the final corner, but still an improvement nonetheless. He's now at a 56.555, but he lost almost a full tenth at the final corner. I think he just waited a bit too long for the front end to turn before he got back on throttle, when he probably could have had just got back on throttle and let the car ride out the curb at the exit. Flash meanwhile closes the gap to the NSX. It's now, both cars are now in the 57.1s. The Huracan remains out of reach and is probably going to stay out of reach if Fausto improves here, which doesn't look to be. Tim had to left there with John right in front of him. Flash now overtakes John in the timing boards with the 57.0. 3 minutes left here in this session. Can John answer back against the Porsche? Can Fausto extend that gap? And can Tim find his way deeper into the 57-second range? Max now closing the gap to Tim. He's now at a 58.3. Remember, he started out in the 59s here in this session. And NFL also not far behind. He's now at a 58.7 as well. Playing with the throttle there at the exit. NFL again improves, finds improvement late in the session with the 58.5. It's now close between the Corvette and the Alpine. Ooh, Tim spins out of the final corner. One minute left here. I think he's lost that lap. John here can probably get one more lap. Flash definitely getting one more lap here. Fausto, I think, is on his last. Flash now into the 56s. John with a low 57.102. Only 0.003 of a second improvement, it looks like. What is Fausto's lap looking like? He's purple. Will it be an improvement? It is! A 56.421 puts the gap back to over half a second to the Porsche. But what does Flash have in store for the final lap? Improves again. 56.8. How about John? Goes into the 56s with a 56.888. Only Tim right now on the green lap. But I don't think it's going to be any improvement here. I'm just waiting for him to get over the line, but he's safe here in fourth right now. With a 57.9. That was a pretty good session for the first session of Modified. As we look back on the results here, Fausto Ortiz in the lead in the Lamborghini Huracan with a 56.4. Flash in the Porsche 997 911 GT3 with a 56.8. If you remember, he was in third for most of the session, and found some major pace at the end to overtake John's NSX, who's sitting at a 56.888. Again, the top three all within 1 second. And Tim here at fourth in the S2000 with a 57.983, the only car in the 57s. Then we have Max McKetty in the Alpine A110 with a 58.3. Not far behind is NFL in the Corvette C8 with a 58.542 to round up the modified class field. And we will now proceed to what could be the most awaited or the most dreaded for these drivers. We're now going for the unlimited class here at Tsukuba. And we have John T calling it a day here. So his time in the M3 for Clubman and the NSX and modified will stand. But it puts him at risk of getting overtaken if everyone else behind him finds some improvement. We have Max going for another trifecta with an unlimited class tuned Alpine A110. Which, due to the rules of Unlimited, I'm guessing is fitted with a VR38 from a Nissan GTR Nismo. NFL bringing a new car to Unlimited here. A 3000 GT. A very interesting choice here for Unlimited, a Mitsubishi 3000 GT. Tim back again with the V8 powered S14 Silvia, and Tex as well back in his C7 Corvette. Flash with, as I guessed it, a 991 911 GT3 RS, and Fausto brings back the 4-rotor powered Mazda 3. And with everyone looking ready, we'll fire up the first session of Unlimited class. And with the variety of cars here, I can't even imagine what lap times these guys are going to be able to do. My guess, 54s. Maybe even less. I know I've mentioned how the difficulty of this track goes higher as the power range goes higher. That remains true here for Unlimited class. It's going to be harder to find places to put the power down outside of the back straight. And even then, you're only going to be on the power for so long before you have to slow down again going through the final corner. As we see here, Tim Lord coming into the final corner, 260 kilometers an hour at top speed. 56.5 on the outlap. We have Tech with the 54.8 on the outlap. The times are definitely going to be tumbling down pretty quick. Flash with an outlap of a 52.5. You hear the scream of the 4-rotor engine on that Mazda 3. The front brake disc just glows, slowing the car down. An outlap of a 53.8. Oh, Tex there trying to go wide. Take the wide line there, but gets on the power too early and loses the rear. Tex puts the gauntlet down at 54.9. Tim with a 56.0. Max with a 57.3. And Flash, already exceeding my expectations, puts down the 53.0 on his first lap. Fausto goes back into the pits, I'm guessing to make some setup changes here on the Mazda 3. But we have Flash looking to improve us again, probably going to the 52s this time around. Tim improves to a 55.3, Max to a 56.7, and Flash increasing the lead down to a 52.6. Wonder what Fausto has in store here for his first flying lap in the Mazda 3. Oh, goes deep again. And goes straight to the pits for more setup changes. I think that car isn't dialed down yet for Tsukuba. Or it may be that it just is too fast for this track. If that ever is a thing. As Fausto found the adjustment that he needs to finally be confident enough to set a good lap time here. NFL in second place with a 54.652 in the 3000 GT. Just a little ahead of Big Tex in the Corvette C7 and Tim Lore in the S14. car definitely doesn't look as punted as the Huracan was, but given how much more power it has, it's no surprise. He's already purple through sector 1 here, the Mazda 3. If he can get it together, this is where he has a lot of problems. Breaking in for the second hairpin. Manages to go through it nicely here. Pretty good on exit, and now it's screaming all the way to the back straight before he now has to brake. 238 up on Flash's time. If he gets the final corner right, this is looking to be a 51-second lap. Barely edges out the Porsche's lap time. He's now sitting at a 52.478, 1.162 ahead of the Porsche. You can be consistent as you want here in the limited class, but all you need is one lap. And somehow, looks like Fausto's adjustments up until now start to work. But I feel like there's more to this car than just the 52.4. How can Flash answer back in his 991 Porsche? He's in the slipstream of Tim's S14. NFL is still comfortably in third place in 3000 GT. Or GTO as it's known in Japan. I think it was the Dodge Stealth as well. It was rebadged as the Dodge Stealth in the US. But they also did get it as a 3000 GT. Very rare car to see nowadays, even in real life. But it's nice to see that car getting picked for this series. And Flash improves to 52.274 to take back the lead from the Mazda 3. It's on. From what it looks like, it's just gonna be a battle between these two again. Vertex closes the gap to the GTO with the 54.732. The two cars split it, now separated by barely 2/10 of a second. NFL looked like he went wide a bit there out of the final corner. Improves, but that could have been a bigger improvement if not for that line at the final corner. I think he just went in a bit too hot there. Tim now half a second down on the Corvette. And Max 1.4 off of Tim's S14. A good effort here so far from Max in the Alpine. Like Fausto was setting himself up for another attack lap. Was definitely a cool down lap on that last one. The top two are right next to each other right now on track. Not close enough for slipstream to be a thing. Ooh, Fausto gets it wrong here. Goes into the barriers at turn 4. I think the rear just snapped on him, turning into 3. Had to cut the grass over there, but didn't get to slow the car down enough to avoid the barriers out of 4. Max continuing to improve his time, but is still nowhere close to the S14. And Tim himself is still looking to improve, maybe get into the 54s to start fighting with Tex and NFL. But right now, the battle for the class lead is between these two. So purple in sector 1, but messes it up before Dunlop. That Mazda definitely has pace, but being the wild beast that it is, you really have to drive it by the horns. Compared to the Porsche here, consistently in the 52s. But that's the beauty of time attack here. You need to build a car you can drive lap after lap after lap until you get to that lap time. Or you build a car that you just have to control for one good lap and that's all you needed. Again, Fausto gets it wrong, gets on the grass out of 1, loses the traction in the rear. Spins his way into 4, but manages to recover nicely with a pretty good 360 spin as well. But those tires are cooked. Those tires are definitely cooked. Still trying to take the wide line here. Set himself up for another lap. Crosses the start finish line at over 200. I think that's a good mark to start with. Takes a late apex in the 1. Doesn't lose the rear this time around. Goes into 4. Again, trying to take a late apex. That might have been a bit too deep here, but it's a good exit nonetheless. Yeah, the lines here, the lines through 1 and 4 might have cost him through there. You don't want to take a late apex into 4. You can afford to take a late apex into 1, but definitely not into 4. Because there's barely any space for you to use the good exit speed that you're going to get. Perhaps the tires are still overheated from the spin he had the previous lap, and now he goes deep out of the final corner. Max now into the high 55s to the 55.7, now threatening, looking much more threatening to Tim, who's still stuck in the low 55s here. Not anywhere close to Big Texas Corvette and NFL's GTO. Ooh, Flash getting it wrong here out of 4. That could have been an improvement, maybe, but lost 2.5 tenths out of sector 1. What about Fausto? He's fresh off the pits. A new set of tires, and maybe some setup adjustments. It's a blistering out lap of 51.0, but gets it wrong out of 1. That's not the late apex you want to take through there. Again, deep in the 4, but a much tighter exit. And he's purple. Somehow he's purple. Probably got the car rotated just enough out of 1 and 4. Goes to the second hairpin. What's the time gonna be going into the final corner? Still purple now, 471 up. He is looking at a 51 right now. Barely gets it, 52 dead. And goes straight into the barriers in a 1. Flash unable to answer here. Fausto was on course for a 51, but I think he just loses time with a Porsche through the final corner. But he makes up more than enough time everywhere else to get that lap time. Tim Lord now 55.1. 2 successive 55.1s here from the S14. Not in the 54s just yet, but puts enough of a gap here between him and himself and the Alpine of Max McKinney. As we now head into the final minute. Of session 1 of Unlimited class. Does Flash have something in hand to at least retake the lead before the end of the session? Because remember, session 2 will be in the afternoon, while session 1 is in early morning. If track temps are going to be an issue, then it could very well be that we won't see faster times in session 2. I could be wrong, but that has been the case so far. But there's very little improvement seen in session 2. Tex now jumps NFL with a 54.364. Puts him a 10th ahead of the GTO. But NFL has a lot of improvement on hand right now. He is a much better line to the final corner than we've seen him in his fastest lap. Takes it back by a lot. 53.689 here by NFL. Puts 6/10 between himself and the Corvette. Everyone now in their final laps. It's going to be Tim who takes the flag first. It's not going to be an improvement. He's going to end the session with a 55.1. And Tex also doesn't find an improvement. He'll go into session 2 with a 54.3. Flash takes the flag here, unable to get back at the Mazda 3. He's going to be sitting in second here. Fausto just drills the wall at the final corner. Not an improvement, but that was a very interesting turn of events here in modified class. But the results from session 1 are as follows. GTC Fausto Ruiz in the 4-rotor Mazda 3 with a 52.030. Just 2/10 ahead of Flash 05's 991 911 GT3 RS with 52.274. NFL in the Mitsubishi GTO with a 53.689, taking back third right at the death. over Big Texas Corvette C7 with a 50, who has a 54.364 himself, taking third from NFL's GTO for a few seconds before he got it back. And Tim Lore in the V8-powered S14 Sylvia with a 55.124. There's still room for improvement in that car, I feel like, and Max McKenny not far behind in the Alpine A in the V6 GTR V6 powered A110 with a 55.730. And now everyone has to reset as we're going back to Clubman class for session 2. It's probably gonna make these drivers feel weird. Going from the fastest cars they've ever driven here at Tsukuba back to the slowest cars of Clubman class. Now, as we fire up the second session of Clubman class, let's take a look back at what the times were at the end of the first session. We have Flash 05 leading Clubman class in the 996 GT3 with a time of 101.105. Not far behind him is Fausto Ruiz in the Mazda 3 with a 101.223. Tim Lore is in third in the Ford Sierra RS with a 101.844. Max McKenny is fourth in the Alpine A110 with a lap time of 102.001. Very close to getting into the one second range there. John T, who unfortunately isn't going to be participating in the second session of Clubman, in the BMW M3 with a time of 102.33 in fifth. In sixth, we have Big Tex in the Radical SR3 with a 102.487, and in seventh, rounding up the class, is Big NFL's DC2 Integra Type R with a 104.112. The battle is going to be interesting here between Flash and Fausto. There's barely anything separating them from the first session of Clubman, but the issue is, again, we're in the afternoon session here, and the wind has moved from, I think it was northeast earlier, to a full easterly wind. The cars are So the cars now have a much bigger boost on the back straight. And they'll have a lot of headwind going into one, which will help with the braking. But that also gives them tailwind going into 4. Not to mention the fact that these guys just went from 1,000 horsepower beast back to 300, 400 horsepower cars with sports medium tires. So these first few minutes are just going to be them acclimating back to driving these slow class cars. Vertex sets the first fast flyer here in the Radical with a 103.4. Flash answers back with a 101.975. Still 8/10 off his personal best. Fausto with another 101.9. So these, yeah, they're probably just starting to warm back up to these cars. It'll be a while before we see some actual competitive lap times. Maybe a lap or two more. Flash now with a 101.729 to take the lead in this session. Fausto himself again improves with a 101.835. NFL with a 103.8, already improving on his previous best. Which could very well be, it could very well be a lot of things. It could be he made some setup changes in between the two sessions that actually work right now, or he just wasn't completely warmed up enough during the first session for him to run this particular car around here. But that's the point of having two sessions here. You can either find improvements in one or both. Fausto down to a 101.5, getting ever closer to their previous best times in the first session. Fausto, I think, trying to cool his tires down already. It is the afternoon session, so it might be that the tires come up to temperature and get overheated much quicker than they were in the morning session. Flash sets a new fastest lap with a 101.479. Meanwhile, Fausto sets himself up here for, I think it's an attack lap on the next one. time here is still stuck in the 102.6. Very far off from his previous best of a 101.8. But so is Max McKenny, who is around about a second off from his previous best. Both Max and Tim find improvements in their lap time. Tim now down to a 2.5 and Max down to a 2.9. But again, still far off from their previous best. Might be that the afternoon session is taking quite a toll on these cars when it comes to lap time. Having said that, here comes Flash with a 101.215. Just a little over a tenth off his previous best right now. So it's not far off for people to see improvements over the first session, but definitely is going to be more difficult. What can Fausto do to close the gap? But it seems like the Mazda 3 is struggling a lot more than the Porsche is. Which can be the same case for everyone in the field right now. Vertex here looking to improve in his current lap time. 103.246. He's still currently 8/10 off his session 1 best. And Tim improves again, slight improvement here to 2.4. Fausto closes the gap here with a 101.382. He is now also just a 10th off his session 1 best. It's almost the same gap between them as well right now, Flash and Fausto. But none of them have beaten their session 1 best time so far. We still have 8.5 minutes left in this session, so there's plenty more time to find here if they can. Vertex now down to 102.6, only 2/10 off his session 1 best. Flash improves to a 101.137. His session 1 best is a 105, so just barely there now. Very consistent laps here from both our top two. Flash right now looking to go purple. He's purple through sector 1 right now. But lost time there through sector 2. He's 2/10ths down on his current best. 101.420 on that lap. Fausto with a 101.6. Two 101.6s back to back now. They're definitely pushing to get that little bit of time more. And here's Flash, 3/10ths purple in his sector 1. He lost time through sector 2 here earlier, but what can he do now? Still purple going into the final corner. Will he get it? 1 minute 0.9. That's a new fastest lap for this class overall. There's still a little under 5 minutes left in this session. There's still more time for Fausto to mount a comeback. Meanwhile, Tim sitting at a current session best lap of 1 minute 2.237. Still around about 4/10ths off his overall best. Flash still going purple into the final corner. And he put his time out of reach. Marginal improvements there, but an improvement nonetheless. He improves to 1 minute 0.940. Fausto's trying, but he's just not getting that lap time that he needs. He's not getting the improvements he needs sector by sector. Close the gap to the Porsche. Tim gets himself back to the 1 minute 1 second range with a 1 minute 1.936, but he's still a tenth off his session 1 best. With only 30 seconds left, he only has this lap left to find more if he can. Looks like he is, but currently not enough. He needs more time here through sector 2 and the final corner. How about Fausto? Going through sector 1, what can he do? Currently down on his current best. Tim doesn't improve. He finishes the session with a 1 minute 9. Fausto also doesn't improve, which means that Flash, with his improved lap time of a 1 minute 0.940, will take his second straight Clubman class victory. In a battle between the two past winners of the Clubman class, it is the Porsche 911 that comes out on top over the Mazda 3, but brilliant effort from both these drivers. So as we take a look at the results from session 2 of the Clubman class, we have Flash 05's 996 911 GT3 with a 1 minute 0.940, taking the overall win of the Clubman class. Fausto will remain in second with a session 2 lap time of a 101.32, but his best was a 101.223. Still good enough for second. Tim Lowe remains in third as well. His lap time of 101.936, unable to best his session 1 lap time of 101.844. Max McEddy will finish this event in fourth in Clubman class in the Alpine E110 with a 102.001. And then John T will remain in 5th in the BMW M3 with a 102.383. Big Tex remains in 6th in the Radical SR3 with a 102.487, while Big NFL rounds up the class in 7th with an improved lap time of a 103.804 in the Honda Integra Type R. Now we move on to the second session of modified class next. As we start the second session of Modified, let's run down the results from the previous session. We currently have GTC Fausto Ruiz in the lead of modified in the Lamborghini Huracan with a time of 56.421. Flash 05 in the 997 911 GT3 not with a time of 56.840, 4/10 of a second behind. Don T sitting in third in the NSX with a 56.888. Unfortunately, not here for the second session, which could allow Tim Lore in the Honda S2000 to get back at him. Tim Lore sitting in fourth with a time of 57.983. Max McKetty in fifth in the Alpine A110 with a 58.3, and NFL in the C8 Corvette with a 58.542. As we've seen with the Clubman class, some people have had trouble getting close to their session 1 lap times, but some others have found improvements, especially our class winner Flash, who actually found a couple tenths improvement to take the class win in the second session. It'll be interesting to see what the new track time, the afternoon session, does to the modified cars, because this will give us an idea on what to expect once we hit the second session of the Unlimited class at the end. Max McKetty currently at fastest on track with a 59.145. Everyone's just going to start to warm up to this track a lot more as the session goes on. These faster cars as well. Tim Lorna gets to the top of the timesheets with a 58.702. Again, the common theme here is none of these drivers have gotten close to their session 1 best just yet. It could very well play out that way as we go deeper into the session. Flash right now is a lot of ways purple and takes the top of the timesheets with a 57.3. Fausto, interestingly, still in the pits in the Huracan. Flash now improved to 56.8. He's now just 400ths away from his session 1 best with that lap time, and Fausto still is in the pits. Probably waiting until probably the last 10 minutes of the session to go out, I'm assuming. Or he's just not there yet. Currently, no one is improving on their session 1 best laps right now, so a loose moment there from NFL in the Corvette. Oh yeah, Flash now sitting in the pits as well, probably making some setup changes. Joining our current class leader still has yet to come out of the pits for this session. Max McEddie probably getting some good slipstream from the S2000 right now, but that would give him dirty air for the final corner. Now we have Fausto back out on track here, doing his first laps of the second session. Him setting a current session best of 58.293, but he's still half a second off from his session 1 best. A lot of our drivers right now struggling to find improvements here. The closest to their session 1 best right now is Flash 05 with a 56.880. His session 1 best was a 56.84. And here we have Fausto in his first flying lap of the second session. 57.832 of the first lap here for Fausto in the Lamborghini. Been a pretty quiet session so far, given that everyone looks like they're struggling with with the track conditions right now, unable to find pace to improve on their previous best laps. Here we go. Fausto takes the lead of the session so far by just 1,000th of a second. Just shows the pace that the Huracan has even in these slower conditions by the looks of it. Tim Lore here still pumping out consistent lap times, but none of them anywhere near his Session 1 best. Just a little over 5 minutes left. A little over 5 minutes left in this session. But it's looking unlikely for anyone to find some significant improvements to their lap times. Very well be that this afternoon condition doesn't suit the sports soft compound tires very much as it did the morning session. The wind could be a factor, but I don't think it's contributing as much as the track time does, as the direction doesn't change too much from the previous session. Big NFL back on track right now after quite a lengthy stint in the pits. Probably change some setups. Hopefully find some improvements in the car and just get it under control here in this slower conditions. Him here getting some improvements like little by little, but looks like the track conditions are just not favoring these cars right now. With the times looking as it is, looks like the session 1, it seems very likely that the session 1 standings would hold. As we see here, Fausto is getting improvements, and I stand corrected right now. It's Flash improving on his session 1 best with a 56.6. However, that is still not enough to overtake Fausto in the current standings, as Fausto sits at a 56.4, the person as his session 1 best, and Flash only has a 56.6. However, it's still a minute and a half left. So Flash, oh, it goes off the track. Out of Dunlop corner. It should still give him enough time to get a lap in, but how would that affect his tires, I wonder? Dirty tires are a thing in this game, and he goes a bit too deep into the final corner. That might have messed up his exit. Doesn't set him up properly for the final lap. I feel like we're into the final laps here, and Fausto's right behind him as well, and he goes deep into one, and that's it. I feel like that's it. Regardless of what Fausto does, if he improves or not, I think that's it for Flash's chances to take the win here in the modified class. Fausto still looking to improve here in his final lap. Finishes with the 56.696 as his best lap. That's it. NFL also does manage to improve on his session 1 best, but it's not enough. That position doesn't change, as Max McEddy's lap time was a 58.3 in session 1. now we wrap up the final results of the modified class here at Tsukuba. With the exception of 2 cars being Flash and NFL, there has been no improvements to the overall best lap of the field here. So we rounded up with the final results here. Fausto will take the win of the modified class in the Lamborghini Huracan with a lap time of a 56.421. Flash improves his time, but still not enough to overtake him in the 997 Porsche 911 GT3 with a final lap time of 56.678. John's time will stand in 3rd place. He'll finish the event in the podium in the Honda NSX with a lap time of 56.888. Tim Lohr will finish in 4th in the Honda S2000 with a 57.983. And Max McEddy will finish in 5th in the Alpine A110 with a lap time of a 58.301. And NFL improves on his best time, but still finishes 6th in the Corvette C8 with a 58.476. That wraps it up for the modified class at Tsukuba. And we will now go to the final session of the event. The second session of the Unlimited class. However, based on what we've seen from both Clubman and Modified, potential for time improvement isn't there for everyone. It's not impossible, but it's going to be much more difficult than it was during the first session's morning track time. Temperatures are going to be up again. And the wind direction stays the same. It's an easterly wind at 3.4 meters per second. We start the final session of Unlimited. Let's recap what the standings currently look like. We have Fausto in the lead in the Mazda 3 with a 52.0. Flash 05 in the 991 GT3 RS with a 52.274. NFL in 3rd with the Mitsubishi GTO with a 53.689. Big Tex in the Corvette C7 with a 54.364. Tim in the V8 S14 with a 55.124, and Max McEddy rounds up the Unlimited class field in the GTR powered Alpine A110 with a 55.730. Lap times are close right now in the standings, but the question is, who can find improvements in their previous laps, and will it be enough to bring them up to standard? first representative lap time here on the unlimited class. We have 52.7 from Fausto, 7/10 off his best. Flash with a 53.57, Tex with a 55.761. Him with the 1:05, still getting the car dialed in. Also improves to 52.3. Oh, it gets it wrong out of 1. Flash now down to a 53.1. Fausto's Mazda 3 showing its fangs again. The unruly car here at full rotor. NFL with a 53.9, getting close to his Session 1 best, which was a 53.6. Kind of hard to tell what the car's doing right now with the lag. Him now the closest to a Session 1 best with a 55.2. His previous best was a 55.1. Tex drifting it out of Dunlop there. House improves to 52.2, getting ever so closer to that 52.0 that he had in Session 1. Oh, goes wide at the final corner there, Fausto. Catches a bit of grass, I think, on braking. It just didn't make the car turn. Flash improves to a 52.4. His personal best in this session, but his previous session best was a 52.2, so he's still 0.2 away. Tim Lore getting ever so closer to improving his own lap time. With a 55.147, his best was a 0.124. Flash improves to 52.3, just a 10th off his personal best right now. But still currently behind Fausto. Flash continuing to improve here, little by little. He's now at a 52.348. Tim now is now down to the 54-second range with a 54.799. His target is Big Tex right now with a 54.3, so he needs to find another half a second in that car to get up to 4th place. Fausto now down to a 52.071. He is only 4 hundredths away, 40 thousandths away from his personal best in the session, in the first session, which was a 52.030. NFL does a 53.268, improves on his session 1 lap time by 0.4 of a second. Some people are finding speed again here. We now have Tim and NFL improving on their personal best. What can Fausto do on new tires? Short shifts the car out the final corner to get more traction out of there, setting himself up for his attack lap. What will he do here? What can he do here? Especially with Flash right behind him. Snaps the car into 3. Smooth exit out of 4. But still down on his Sector 1 best. Unable to improve on that lap was Fausto, and so was Flash. NFL, Tex, Tim, and Max all on new tires. Flash currently up on his current session best. Fausto still unable to improve in the sector one lap sector time. Flash looking like he's going on a cooldown lap here. Tim improves to 54.744, and Tex also improves to 54.6. We have Tex improving to a 54.391. 300ths away from his personal best. Flash getting closer now with a 52.129. With only a little under 3 minutes left in this session. Fausto putting on a new set of tires here. One last gasp attempt to improve on his lap time. He's still sitting in first though, both on the overall and in this session. Timlor improves, finds 4 thousandths to improve on his previous best, but still far away from the 54.3 that he's looking to gain on Tex here. Meanwhile, Flash getting ever so closer to improving on his lap time, getting close to that 52.0 of the Mazda. We're down to the last 50 seconds of this session. Fausto coming up to the final corner. No! Goes wide, ruins his setup for the final lap. Dirty tires, I feel like he's gonna ruin his chances here to improve. That could open the door for Flash. And loses the rear, drifts through 4. Yep, I think that's it for Fausto. How about Flash? What does he have in store? Coming down to the line with only 10 seconds left. He's gonna get one more shot at this. It's now down to Flash. Fausto's blown his chance to put his lap away. And Flash goes deep into 4 himself. That's it. Fausto blew his chance on the setup, on the final corner of the outlap. While Flash outbroke himself into 4. Waiting for the timer to count down, or for Max to leave the pits, or leave his pit box and cross the finish line, whichever comes first. Now we run down the final results here of the Unlimited class in round 3 of the Vertex Super Series here at Tsukuba Circuit. GTC Fausto Ariz keeps the win here in the four-rotor Mazda 3 with a final lap time of a 52.030 from session 1. The Flash 05 finishes in second in the 991 Porsche 911 GT3 RS with a final lap time of 52.129 here in session 2. Big NFL finishes in third in the Mitsubishi GTO with the final lap time of a 53.268 here in session 2. Big Tex 097 finishes in fourth in the Corvette C7 with a lap time of a 54.364 from session 1. Tim Lohr finishes fifth in the V8 powered Nissan Silvia S14 with a 54.740 here in session 2, and Max Becchetti rounds out the Unlimited Class Grid in the GTR powered Alpine A110 and the lap time of a 55.730 from first session. It's been a wild one here. It's been a wild one here at Tsukuba Circuit. And that about wraps it up here for round 3 of the Vertex Super Labs series. We'll see you next week, where we head over to the other side of Japan at Suzuka Circuit. But once again, thank you all for watching. We'll see you all next week at Suzuka.